And welcome everyone to another game in the Risk Management Summer Tournament. These are the Grand Finals. In fact, this is Game 5 of the Grand Finals. And we are here contemplating these awesome geometric shapes here on Cloud Kingdom. We have introducing the players. We have down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the red Zerg player, Lougarou, who fell down 0-2 at the beginning of the tournament. Or actually the very beginning of this series, and has won the last 2 games in a row to bring the series to a tied 2-2 status. So no one's got a lead. Someone needs to win. Someone will be crowned the Risk Management Starcraft 2 champion. The other will be the other guy that made it to the finals. So it's actually pretty good as well. Remember, Lougarou, previously a Protoss player, is now trying his hand at Zerg. Had some interesting experience so far. The build so far out of each player has been completely different. Speaking of the other player, we do have in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Terran player, Cricket. Cricket, of course. Oh, forgot to cool. Yes, so cool. Cricket having many different build styles. Actually, a surprising number given the relative skill levels of these players. It's usually most players only have one build. In fact, I only have one build for each race. That's kind of how I roll. So it's interesting to see the number of builds that each of these players has out. We have another early pool and another early gas out of Lougarou. I think this is a... looks like, once again, probably a 10 or 11 pool. And then a gas. Keep missing those. Usually, Zerg players don't do it until 14. I go 14 pool, 14 hatch, no matter what. So very early, another thing here, notice that the supply depot is placed where it should be, which means, of course, that we don't have a proxy. That's basically all that means. Good Overlord placement so far. I would probably move that up a little bit farther personally, but it does see what's coming down the ramp, which is a good thing to know. We do have the gas geyser going. We have no second barrack started, which is something that we've seen previously. I'm going to see he's floating a little bit of minerals. What's he going to do? Is he going to throw in the factory? Is he going to do 1-1-1 again? 1-1-1 worked out for him well last time. And at this point in time, Lougarou is once again going for the very aggressive roach-based one-base build. This has worked out for him in the past. And by in the past, I mean just last game. It worked out very well. We have a bunker and another barracks going down and a tech lab. Good job here being really annoying. There's nothing to shoot these down. He might be able to make his way through. Probably not, but it will cost minerals to repair. At ultra-high Grandmaster's level of play, that causes a big difference. Ooh, he's actually going to delay the bunker as well. That could actually be a big deal with the number of roaches that are actually already on their way. But although this could be a little bit of a feint, as this is not going to be a problem. He's going to get away with both of those Zerglings, causing a whole bunch, probably almost a Zergling's worth of damage to that supply depot. So the bunker will finish up, and another barracks has gone down. The SCV did, I think, scout that hatchery. Yeah, did scout the hatchery. And now, what happens now? So any aggression out of Lougarou should be stopped at this point based on the fact that he saw a whole bunch of stuff going down. A reactor barracks. There comes the factory. Here comes the other barracks. This is actually bordering on, this is too much for one base. But it depends on what his follow-up is out of this. Concussive shell is almost done. So is the reactor. So here in just a moment, these roaches will be... not useless, just they won't be useful in this choke point. 2 marauders in a bunker with something to repair it is not the ideal thing to approach while you are a roach. Ha! It rhymed. I'm so good. Okay, workers. Want to see a lot more workers coming out of Lougarou. He's got a base up on his opponent. Check. That's something that all Zerg players need to do. You know, all Starcraft players actually just need to do that. But in general, Zerg definitely needs to stay up on their opponents. And base count, and then the other thing is, while the other player is being a little bit passive like this, you need to take that opportunity to expand. This is Cloud Kingdom. It's actually pretty easy to take this base right here, as this ramp right here is one of the hardest ramps in all of StarCraft to make your way up, because it's got this gigantic concave that just, whoa, all that area and all that area. And then with fungal growths, it's so hard to approach. I do like what Lougarou is doing here with his just keeping tabs of things. You want to make sure that he knows if that is going down. Ooh, these units, this should be able to take care of these roaches actually. And these roaches will be taken out. They have the Marauders have concussive shell, so you should chase them down and get rid of them. Although the Spire's coming up very quickly. So this is the same build that we saw out of Cricket in the first game. I want to point out the worker count is finally in the lead for Lougarou. It's so easy to feel like you're constantly building workers as Zerg, and especially as a newish Zerg player, I totally understand what's going on here, because you feel like all you do is build workers. But because you kill your own workers to build buildings, that's a problem. And you can't constantly build them. Like Marauders, or not Marauders, Terran and Protoss, they're constantly building one worker at a time from each one of their buildings. Take 17 seconds every time. Bam, there's 2 more, or 3 more, however many you have. Ooh, those roaches could actually get a lot done right there. There's nothing for them to escape into. Ooh, he needs to take out the SCV. The SCV is the better target. SCV is the better target. Take out the SCV. Take out the SCV. Take out the SCV. Okay, with the tank there, this should be pretty one-sided. He needs to get those roaches out of there. There's still nothing in production from Lougarou. We have some lings down here. It looks like now this is not a cheesy game. This is instead a straight-up game. Still nothing about Lougarou's controlling these units. He's trying to come in with those lings. The lings will be able to prevent the units from getting into the bunker. That's actually a big deal. The tank gets taken out first. The ling is doing a lot of damage to these marauders and allowing the marauders, or the roaches, to get some more shots in as they're not being focus fired by the additional bonus damage from these marauders. Another little dance here. They're going to start playing here. This is a really good engagement point for Cricket. Lougarou needs to be really careful not to approach too closely there. He needs to snipe that. He needs to snipe. Oh, okay, he's just going to go ahead and take off. He does have... the Spire has been done for a while now. He does have some mutas in production, although I do think those are the first mutas that will be on the map. The worker counts are almost identical. Some more bunkers going down. So, okay, so he's attacked with lots of roaches. There's have been some links. There's been no scouting done by Cricket. The army counts are similar. A baneling nest is going down. These mutas, if he slowly builds up enough mutas, this could actually be a big deal. 4 is not enough, though. If he banks up probably 10... Oh, it's going to get scouted! Does he see it? I don't know if he saw it. 4 mutas is not enough to cause a problem. All the other things... Okay, so the turrets... There's no turrets. Previously, all that he's seen out of Lougarou has been ground-based, armor-based units. Oh, the mutas! Be more active, mutas! Please be more active. Mutas take so long to do any DPS. We do have a multi-pronged attack going on here. The Marauders here getting on a lot of good shots on these roaches. But these mutas being a little bit annoying. They will be taken out. At least a few of them will be taken out. He needs to get those mutas out of the way. Doesn't want to lose all those mutas to the Marines. Oh, there's so many low mutas right there. 3 more. He needs to keep the mutas alive. Okay, he will take that out. These mutas do have free reign over this area at this point in time. There's nothing that can shoot up. There are no turrets going up. All of them, it looks like Cricket's actually being a little bit torn to pieces here. He has the ability to build some defenses and get things back underway, but it looks like he's a little bit frazzled by the multi-pronged aggression coming out of Lougarou. Lougarou is now up by 20 supply. We do now see things getting back going. We have a whole bunch of workers and gas, some additional turrets going down that should keep him alive. But now the muta number is starting to reach critical mass almost. He's got to be really careful with them though. Doesn't want to lose all those mutas. It looks like he's going to lose some of them going right over top. He needs to get out of there with those mutas. There's so many mutas dying. The SCV is repairing each other instead of the turret. That's actually what saved these mutas. And it looks like at this point in time, this is actually going to be really difficult to hold for Cricket. He's now down by 30 supply. The worker count is... Lougarou's got a 10 worker lead, so it's not the end of the world. But these mutas, there's nothing to deal with the mutas. There are a few turrets going up. These Marines in this bunker are a big deal. But the other thing is what ground force is there to deal with these impending ground forces from Lougarou. Not that many Lings, not that many Roaches, but enough. This could be a big problem. We do see another evolution chamber coming up, some more workers coming up, no third base, a whole bunch of puddled overlords, and a whole bunch of SCVs that are trying to repair each other instead of building this turret. That's got to be frustrating. These Marines here could do a lot to defend against this, actually, especially if these Marines got out. But with this many units in the natural, this many units in the main, I feel like Cricket's got almost no place to go. I think he's going to try and push these units back. I think he could. I think he can. I think he got it. I think he's got those. Although 6 more in production, it looks like he might be able to win this battle. But I think the war is looking like it's going to go the way of Lougarou. So, wow, Lougarou, after going down 2-0 in this the very first 2 games of this set, coming back with a vengeance. And, looks like he's going to get ready to take this series away from Cricket. From the very clutch of Cricket as he was reaching out for match point 3 separate games in a row, it looks like Lougarou is just about ready to take it back and take the crown as the reigning StarCraft 2 champion in the BYU Risk Management Office. Once again, getting everyone involved in StarCraft is lots of fun. Look at all the strategy going on here. The Marauder getting 1 Roach for itself. It's actually an excellent trade. These Zerg units looking extremely scary. An Overlord being so scary it drops a Changeling, which they're so gross. Changelings are so nasty. If you haven't read the Changeling thing in the lore of StarCraft 2, right before StarCraft 2 came out, there's a couple of blog posts about some really interesting new units, and they had 6 or 8 pages worth of story behind them to introduce them and make them all scary. Mules coming down, getting Cricket back in the game. The turret there is going to be actually able to defend pretty well. The Marines here are going to be sacrificed. There's still been no stim and no combat shield. If stim and combat shield had been produced at the very beginning of this aggression, I think he actually would have been able to hold this. Because by this point in time, both of those would be done. The Marines would be tougher, and he could continue to produce. Also, Cricket could be producing 4 Marines at a time, but he's not. 4 Marines at a time will defend against 8 or 7 mutas pretty well. The problem is still what to do about this. There's this ramp that is still down, Changeling that's doing nothing. Oh, yeah, come on, Changeling, go. Ooh, not gonna have any of that, says the Marines. But now there's just enough Marines. He is continuing to produce. He's just losing Marines in small numbers pretty much everywhere. We do see, is this a hive coming up? No, it's a lair. The aggression has been so constant that he's not really been able to get a lair. I'm confused. Spires usually require a lair. Must be morphing into a hive. This is what's going on. I'm handicapped. Got it. I figured it out. Watch the ugly Changeling. Oh yeah, I'm a Marine. La la la. So gross. The Muta's coming in again, never getting enough time to get up one of those turrets. The Marines here actually, I think, can take out the rest of those Mutas. Especially with this bunker anywhere near, even if he just unloaded that. Just unload the Marines. You have backups in here, they're hiding. They do have additional range in the bunker, which is something good to note. The siege tank needs to siege up right here, like right now. Oh, it's too close to the edge. Roaches will be able to shoot this up here. This is a good placement still. He needs to raise that ramp, because without that ramp raised, this is a killing zone. Or with that ramp raised, this is a killing zone. Without it raised, this is a mess and a nightmare. But once again, I feel like Cricket's feeling a little bit frazzled from the continued aggression out of Lougarou. We do see, I think Lougarou is actually waiting for Brood Lords before going ahead and doing things. He is getting that additional base up. The worker count is now up to 30. Yes! Okay, looks like the Muta aggression has probably been stopped. Enough Marines have been able to be produced to keep things at bay. I feel like that could have been done a little bit easier, but good job from Cricket. Be able to regain his composure and really get things going again. The APM, Lougarou, 150 APM, an average of 71. Love me some APM. That's beautiful. 2 command centers inside. It looks like he was planning on retaking this. There's no way that he can hold that at this point in time. But the extra SCV production and the extra mules are really coming in handy. The problem is it's just coming a little bit dry. He's thinking that Lougarou's got to have tons of bases by now. At this point, though, there's only 3. Some additional drones from Lougarou. He's really got to get that drone count up. He really needs to get these additional gas geysers if he really wants to produce broodlords, and to have them be that final punishing blow. Oh, there's still no medevacs out. You can see how much this aggression has really thrown Cricket off of his game, because there's no medevacs. There's still not constant production out of anything. The army supply is very low. The siege tanks here are getting in a little bit better position until something can see up, and then they'll all surround and kill the siege tank in one shot. But until then, they're doing a good job keeping things out of this area. Look at that. Bam. Siege tank's going to try to get sniped by the mutas here. It does not. The roaches here have crept up at the same time. So the siege tank will survive to shoot another day, and it will actually do a lot of damage to these. There's no upgrades on anything in the entire game, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we do have Siege Mode, Concussive Shell, and Glitter Reconstitution. That's it. That's what we got. There's some Marines. They want to go get Vengeance on... No, they're just going to sacrifice... Oh, no, they're baiting things back into the Siege Tank. One of them pays for it with their lives. One pays with their lives. I don't know what's going on with me today. So, story time real quick, as there's a little bit of a lull in the game here as everyone's playing chicken with each other. Not wanting to go head-to-head. So I was riding my bike home from work today, and I'm usually a pretty vigorous bike rider. I take pride in the fact that I've only ever been passed once on the bike trail by some dude. All the other times I do the passing. It takes me 4 minutes to do 1.5 miles on my bicycle. I'm quite proud of that. Mostly I'm just behind and late every day. But luckily there's no on time or not on time at work. Gotta love that. Looks like we're gonna have an engagement here. Cricket's really trying to bring and bait those forces in. What Cricket doesn't know is that these forces are sacrificial. They're actually not planning on being the real damage dealers here at all. Feeling something's got to be up. Okay, they were on hold position. He's going to move back. The siege tank fire is actually going to hit some of his own units. The siege tank here will be able to help clean all of these out, but the broodlords are going to be the problem. There's absolutely nothing to defend against broodlords. The Marines here are going to be able to force things back a little bit. No production out of either of these. Either way, so on my way back home, they're going over the second hill, coming down the hill at top speed. I was in top gear, pedaling pretty good on the downside of a hill over an overpass. Broodlords doing quite well. All these units here not noticing what's going on. They're spending their time shooting the broodlings, not noticing they're getting thrown at them from the backs of these ugly creatures. That do tons of damage. It looks like this will probably be the very end of the game. There's no Starcourts, so there's no Vikings. There's a whole bunch of roaches. There's no more units, really. They should go into these bunkers. It looks like that's what they're going to do. It's probably going to load up this other one. But without anything to deal with these siege weapons, aka the broodlords, not sure how he's going to deal with any of this at all. He'll be able to hold out a little bit longer. He's trying to keep that siege tank alive, but the broodlings keeping it pinned in, and there it goes. That's painful. Nothing repairing. It looks like this is going to be the beginning of the end. But because I really want to finish my story, cruising down the hill, very high speeds, a bug has the audacity to go directly into my esophagus. I know everyone's probably done that cool thing where you're riding your bike or you're driving your car, or you do something and a bug goes in your mouth and you, I mean, gross. It's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. It didn't just like go in my mouth. I was breathing deeply as I was pedaling vigorously, and it actually went directly into my esophagus. Like I felt it roughly, in fact I can still feel it's a little bit tickly, right about where my Adam's apple is. It went that far down, and because I was inhaling from my vigorous bike riding, I nearly choked to death, which has got to make me look like an absolute crazy man. Nothing makes you look quite as crazy as walking through a spider web from a distance. Everyone else thinks you're going absolutely nuts. A runner-up for that is inhaling a bug at 30 miles an hour, trying to inhale. It's got to be difficult. That's got to be what it's like to be one of these Marines as these broodlings come right at you. I feel like I can identify with one of those, what's left of one of those guys right there. It's brutal. I understand. So congratulations goes out to Lougarou. He was, once again, he was behind 2-0, or I guess 0-2 in this tournament at the end of the second game. Game number 3, the 10 pool met the proxy 12 racks, and it worked out. Game number 2, one base aggression, hit at a time when Cricket was not able to handle, but both of those games were pretty short. But here, in a straight-up macro game, it looks like Lougarou was able to gain the upper hand from Cricket, having gained a little bit more experience playing against Cricket, figuring out maybe a potential weak point, and he goes ahead and hits it. And a lot of congratulations go out to him. You get to wear the official crown of StarCraft 2 champion there around the office, because we know that the bragging rights are important. And good job, Cricket, making your way all the way here, going up 2-0 in the first 2 games. They're quite convincing. So congratulations on that, and I say maybe better luck next time. Tips for both players. Lougarou, as you continue to play Zerg, you're doing pretty good at using the units thing. I think that you could. It feels like you're just going to need to feel like you're overproducing drones by a ton. Go and play a couple games where you actually lose by over-droning. Even have that be your plan. And you'll get a kind of a feel, especially when you go back and watch through your replays, at how many drones you actually need to build to stay up with your opponent. It feels like that's all you're doing, is constantly building drones. But you have to do that to stay up in the game. I feel like that's the reason you lost games 1 and 2. Games 3 through 5, I feel like you won because of aggression, which is awesome. Something that you've worked on before, and it's glad to see it's paying off for you here. Cricket, you have lots of builds. Super awesome. You actually have way more builds than I do. I will say that in StarCraft 2, generally depth of skill in one build is superior to a large breadth of builds, but with no depth. So I say that in terms of, sometimes I'll see at the very beginning of the game that you have you have additional buildings, but because your macro's not been quite as good, or the timings of things, you end up with an additional 100 gas or something before you go do things. Once you get those builds nice and crisp, I think you'll see your performance in games skyrocket, because you've got a lot of the tactics and a lot of the unit control, but generally it's the macro where you fall behind, and once you get that under control, you, my friend, will go far. Perhaps you will be crowned the champion of the next risk management tournament. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Sorry it took me so long. My motherboard died. I've had all sorts of interesting problems. But now, I'm going to go and do something else. Enjoy everything tonight. Good to talk to you all. Hopefully everyone else enjoys this. And this is Logan signing off.